Really, the short-term rental space has like exploded since, Airbnb became a thing. And when I started my boutique business, it really wasn't a thing. It was just starting to come about, right? It was like a new concept to where, people were letting out their spaces and whatnot and generating income. But it was all timing as well. So when I kind of started my company, Airbnb was coming up at the same time. So I feel like that space is going to continue to grow. But more so now, since everything is going to be tokenized. Basically, tokenization is representation of real world assets on blockchain. So that's the next big thing, whether it be short-term rentals, fractionalized investments on commercial properties and whatnot. That's the next big thing. So I think that space is only going to like continue to grow. And I think that now that we have the technology behind it with blockchain, it's only going to expand. So I'm doubling down on that.
Hey, Champion Nation. My name is Kayshawn Cooper, and I am the host of the Champion Nation podcast. Before we jump into today's episode, can you please do me a favor? It would mean so much to me if you can scroll down and subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. Also, if you can hit that little like button, comment below. Your comments mean so much to me and our other viewers and listeners. Now let's jump into today's episode.
Hey, Champion Nation, it's your host of the Champion Nation podcast, Kayshawn Cooper. I am here with Maverick Approach. Man, let me tell you something. I could not wait for this conversation. I know week after week, episode after episode, I say I'm excited. That's because I am genuinely excited to meet new people and hear about their experiences, their passions, their challenges, and how they overcame those different things. But today, the reason I'm really excited to hear and to talk about, or to talk to Maverick, is he owns a tech company, something about blockchain. I have no idea what that stuff is, but Maverick, he is a real estate investor who doesn't need a piece of real estate in their portfolio, right? He is the founder of a successful tech company, and he's also a content creator. I am so excited to have Maverick. Hey, Maverick, thank you for joining the Champion Nation.
Man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, my friend. So let's jump straight into it. What is it that, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Well, I'll give you the short version. I'm from LA native, born and raised. I am a real estate investor, as you said. I've been in the real estate space for about going on 12, 13 years now. And I got into that just by way of kind of untraditionally. I was in the entertainment field. I've been, on that side, on the, pretty much producer and, assistant director side. I produced a film at the age of 21. And I learned the location aspect of it. I learned that a lot of production companies and other businesses needed spaces for whether it be, making a movie or making some type of, meetings, different spaces, for whatever they, need. And I got into that. And then I got into the side of starting to acquire my own properties and rent them out for these various reasons, whether it be short-term stays, production, events, weddings, you name it. Anything that happens between four walls, I'm on top of it. So got into that space. And then, from there, I kind of dabbled into the Web3 space and blockchain and how I can marry the two. So long story short, I started a tech company called Jet Set Lux, and I have my own cryptocurrency, and I'm very heavy in the space. And that platform is pretty much the Airbnb of blockchain. So that would basically mean to where you're using all these different spaces and you'll be able to use cryptocurrency, get rewards, cash back on different transactions and whatnot using DeFi. And now it is the time because just looking at the climate of everything, It's a $2 trillion market, the crypto space, and the tokenization of things are here. BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world, just put in $100 million dollars into their fund to where they're going to be tokenizing real estate. So we'll be tokenizing real estate. You'll be able to use our spaces and whatnot. We have, over 50 spaces already, and we're going to be adding more to the roster. So that's essentially what we do.
Brother, I'm blown away. Listen, I have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to the blockchain, but I want to know more. This is so exciting. So, but let's talk about the real estate portion. You live in LA. My wife and our family, we visited LA, not this year, last year. And the thing is, real estate is expensive there. So what made you jump into that space? Given the value and the prices of real estate there?
Well, yeah, it is a big investment, but at the same time, it's, high risk, high reward. So putting in that type of money into real estate investment, the market is definitely there. The market, is always pretty strong. It does have its ups and downs in LA, but there's, more millionaires living in LA than, any other city in the world. So, the money's there, and it's just a numbers game as well. So you have to base it off of how many people, how high densely populated LA is. It's a numbers game. So, basically off of those factors, if you know the market and kind of, dabbled in it for a while, you can't really lose. Sometimes, you'll have your down times, but it's one of those cities that, always has a nice upswing, and it has, highly, great returns on it. So I would say there, New York, Miami, those types of places have those types of, returns.
What about Atlanta? I live in Atlanta.
You're in Atlanta. Atlanta, I heard it is good. It's coming up. I feel like a lot of people have moved there after COVID. So I feel like you could put that on the list for sure too.
Okay. Could you put it on your short list?
On the short list, yeah. Okay. I can say that. I can say that.
Okay. So you've been in real estate for about a decade or so right now. A little over a decade, I guess. And I know you've seen the market really, really transition. What trends have you witnessed that shaped your perspective on future investments in real estate?
Really the short-term rental space has like exploded since, Airbnb became a thing. And when I started my boutique business, it really wasn't a thing. It was just starting to come about, right? It was like a new concept to where, people were letting out their spaces and whatnot and generating income. But it was all timing as well. So when I kind of started my company, Airbnb was coming up the same time. So I feel like that space is going to continue to grow, but more so now, since, everything is going to be tokenized. Basically, tokenization is representation of real world assets on blockchain. So that's the next big thing, whether it be, short-term rentals, fractionalized investments on, commercial properties and whatnot. That's the next big thing. So I think that space is only going to like continue to grow. And I think that, now that we have, the technology behind it with blockchain, it's only going to expand. So I'm doubling down on that.
I guess that makes sense, right?
Right.
I mean, you have your ear to the ground. Transitioning from real estate to blockchain and Web3 technologies is definitely a leap. It's definitely a pivot. What inspired the venture into this rapidly evolving space? Because speaking of rapidly evolving, like you said, everything's being tokenization. Did I say it right?
Tokenization.
There we go. Everything's being tokenized, right?
Right.
Like, how do you see it intersecting with the traditional real estate practices?
I see it like this. I think that innovation into traditional spaces is much needed to push forward the industry. That's one thing. there's going to be some growing pains. Some
Of
people
course.
won't like it. They won't, get it, or, the old ways, like people cling on to that for a long time.
Status quo.
Right. But I always say follow the money. Anytime
Mm.
you have, big financial institutions like BlackRock or even Citigroup, they're using this technology as we speak. Right. So, they could be telling you whatever on, Fox or CNN, or sometimes Bitcoin's good, sometimes Bitcoin's bad. It's always, up and down, but just look at what they do, not what they say. So I knew this was coming down the line. And again, just follow the money. And I think that, 3 to 5 years now, it's going to be the standard where, you're going to be doing transactions, if not sooner. They're going to be doing transactions on the blockchain when it comes to real estate, fractionalized investments, to where, you may not need 100 grand, 200 grand to invest in real estate. Now you can use 2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, and, put into a fraction of a building or a rental property, because that's what tokenization is. It's fractionalized investments, almost like crowdfunding in a
That's what I
sense.
was going to ask you. Yeah, like how different is that from like a fundraise or other real estate, crowdsourcing companies that exist?
Yeah. So essentially it's that, right? So when you take a building or a rental property,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to participate in that property with, not as much as you would need traditionally, because it takes a ton of money to, invest in real estate. But if you're trying to get your feet wet and you're like, okay, I have maybe like 7 grand to invest or whatnot, you put it into a building, you're getting an ROI based on that investment. And it's like a fractionalized dividend that you would get a return on that, whatever the building does, as far as the rentals, or it can be, just property value going up. You're getting a return on that. They're actually doing that right now in a building in Panama. They have a 30-story building that they put on the blockchain, and they take a portion of that and they fractionalize the investments from people from all over the world. And, that's happening right now.
That is insane. Like good, insane.
Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. So you launch your own token. This is the part of the conversation where I really couldn't wait to get to. You launch your own token, Jet Set token. Is that correct?
Correct.
Could you share how that vision came about? Like, what was the vision beyond Jet Set token? How were you able to envision it impacting both the real estate and crypto landscapes?
What inspired it? I just saw where the market was going, and I think that any kind of reward system, you can't really lose. Like, Starbucks, they have their rewards. You have, Coffee Bean and all these other, Target, they all have reward systems, right? So just taking that and putting that into Web3, it's essentially what I was doing. You can take Jet Set token, you can get, if you use a certain amount or hold a certain amount, you unlock certain, gifts or experiences, or even, special villas and whatnot for these, for using the token, or just simply just giving discounts. You use this certain amount, you get 20% off or whatnot, or have access, because we also throw events. You have access to the VIP lounge and whatnot. So all these different things and utilities that the token has, it just helps the ecosystem altogether.
I like that. I like that a lot. In your experience, what are some of the common misconceptions people have about blockchain technology? Because I have misconceptions as well. That's because I'm just ignorant. That's all. That's what it really is.
Right.
and I don't mind admitting I'm just ignorant to the whole thing. That's why I couldn't wait for this conversation. But particularly in the application to real estate and transactions, how do you address those misconceptions in your work and your podcast that I would love to talk about?
Yeah. I love the challenge. I love to educate, because it comes down to education first. I think that being it's such a new technology, people just don't know how it works, and people are afraid of what they, of the unknown. So I think that education is key first, right? So when people say, oh, crypto's a scam and this and this and that, I'm like, well, the US dollar is the biggest scam of all time, if you want to get technical.
Mm.
But, we can go down that whole thing, because our purchasing power has gone down, 80, 90% since the 1930s.
It's
So,
going to be nothing, man. It's going to be nothing in another 20 years.
It's going to be nothing. Since we've been off the gold standard, nobody is using our dollar anymore for trade. The petrodollar is dead now because all these other countries are, de-dollarizing right now. They're using blockchain technology themselves to settle all their trade. So we have no legs to stand on right now. So our only fighting chance is something like this, to where, if we're using cryptocurrency and blockchain, then we can give ourselves the power back, because all of it's based on not speculation, but utility, right? Well, like, what is it used for? Right. And I think that's the future of money. What is money representation of in the future? What is, Bitcoin used for? What is Ethereum and all these other tokens? What are they used for? Right. So even like XRP, its utility is for solving the liquidity crisis and fast transactions, right? Cross-border payments. All the banks are using it because the old system, Swift, is going away, and then they need to be able to have money move faster. So that's the utility. So when you're holding these tokens, you're holding a piece of that utility. So I think that overall, it's just coming down to education, coming with receipts, who's using it, why, and breaking down the actual technology itself and how it works. I think that's the main key. Once people understand it, then it's like, oh, okay, well, it's not so scary now.
Yeah, it's the thing. When you're ignorant, ignorance it just leads you to your own vices. When you don't know, you begin to make stuff up, and when you make stuff up, that stuff is not. It really doesn't make any sense. It's not the truth.
Right.
And then education cures ignorance, and education, it gives you that freedom, that power, that liberty to now say, oh, this is what he's talking about. This is what crypto is about. Oh, it makes sense. Speaking of making sense, do you think they're going to start paying us in crypto, like at employees and employers? Do you think they're going to start? Because everything is paid now on a little card now for some places. You can, actually your deposit goes to your check card or bank card. So do you think they're going to pay us in crypto now?
Of course. I think that's coming down the line. I mean, if you look at a lot of these big companies, a lot of people don't know, if you do your research, Amazon has a partnership with Avalanche. Avalanche is a token. It's a cryptocurrency. And you got to look at, like, what are they doing? So they're like, okay, well, if they're partnering with a lot of these blockchain companies, they're going to start paying out in crypto, whether it be, using certain tokens to get rewards, or, just working a job, right? The whole landscape of finance is about to change. Decentralized finance is going to be the future, only because it moves faster. It's trustless. You don't have to worry about an entity, screwing you over or whatnot. Everything is on the blockchain, so it's transparent and it's safe. So it solves a lot of issues, even voting. Like, if you want to use blockchain technology for voting, there's no more voting scams or no more voting, like, questioning all these things. Ooh. Everything is verified on the blockchain. So I think that, it starts in finance, but it's going to affect every industry. And I think that, when it comes to, like, getting paid every day, like daily payments, I think that's going to be a thing too, to where you're not going to be waiting on a weekly check or a bi-weekly check or a monthly check. They're going to start paying people daily for sure.
Because the money moves faster. Is that what you're saying?
Faster. Yep. Exactly.
Wow. So Web3 holds promises to decentralize, to the decentralization of various industries. And, how do you foresee Web3 reshaping the dynamics and the property ownership of and investments when it comes down to accessibility and inclusivity?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I think that, again, just like how we're talking about, fractionalized investments, fractionalized ownership. I think that's going to be in everything, because real world assets, like I was saying before, BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world, they just launched their fund, put $100 million into it. And that's for real world assets. That's for representation of real world assets on the blockchain, whether it be real estate, stocks, anything, you name it. I think that representation on the blockchain, it's already here. It's coming down the line. So it's going to affect every industry. So not just finance or real estate, but anything that you can own, a car, you name it, computers, whatever we deem valuable. That's coming down the line on blockchain for sure.
Well, speaking of blockchain, you are the host of the Block Nation podcast.
Yes, I am.
Of course, I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah.
You delve into different, points of technology, entertainment news. How do you see these industries converging with blockchain technology? What opportunities do you anticipate for creators and consumers?
Oh man, as far as the opportunity, man, put it this way. The greatest wealth transfer that we will ever see is about to happen. The greatest wealth transfer that in human history is about to happen. So let me explain. Mm-hmm. The reason it's about to happen is because the opportunity is wide open. Nobody's really understanding what's happening with the banks, with, blockchain, with DeFi, all these different protocols that they're using. Only a small number of people who understand what is happening can participate and really get in on the ground floor. This is like the industrial age over 100 plus years ago.
Yes.
Right. So like when you're setting your foundation right now, this is when, the Fords and the big guys that we know today,
Andrew
you
Carnegie.
just hear, yeah. And think about it. Like these are names that we just are synonymous with cars and everything else, but these are actual last names. These are people who got in on the ground floor. Right. So this is what's happening again, with, everything, real estate, stocks, everything that we deem valuable, we can get on the ground floor. And the opportunity is investing into these certain tokens that have, these relationships with the banks, with, even entertainment, with AI, all these different protocols. If you have a chance to get into them right now, just by grabbing these tokens like XRP, XLM, XDC, all these tokens, like they're like stocks. Right. So it's like investing into the company without having to go through traditional, outlets. But that alone, just doing your research and getting into these certain tokens, that alone sets you apart from 99.9% of everybody. And then if you're actually utilizing a lot of these, these tools like, AI tools and everything else, this is going to be the standard. So if you're understanding what's happening right now, and getting on the ground floor and all these different things that's happening, you're setting up your bloodline forever.
We could end the show on that, right?
We could. We can keep going
on that. So, can you trade or buy crypto using the same methodology that you use to buy and trade stocks and options?
Yeah, it's a lot faster too, right? So like, you don't have to go through a brokerage and whatever else. It's decentralized, right? So if you want to participate, all you have to do is find out what you want to buy first, whether it be something as simple as Bitcoin or XRP or, whatever you're looking to buy. Look into what the protocol does. Do your research. I always say do your research first before you do anything. And then you can go on to, an exchange or, even go to a DEX, a decentralized exchange, and then just buy the token right then and there. And then just hold it. Wait. I mean, right now we're in the bull run. So, now's the time. And the bull run, for people who don't know what the bull run is, it happens every 4 years. And basically it's triggered by Bitcoin's halving. And every 4 years, the block rewards for Bitcoin cuts in half. That means it's scarce. It's supply and demand. So it's basic economics, right? So like the harder it is to get Bitcoin, the more valuable it is. Bitcoin,
Right.
it has a ripple effect on other coins, so on and so forth. So that's what's just happening right now. And it's going to be from now until, a year and a half. So it happens every 4 years. It's amazing. And, you have a chance to participate. So, but yeah, it's much easier to get in.
You keep using the word decentralized. Do you think the government is going to come in and centralize it? They're going to put all of their, parameters up to shut it down so it's not as easy as you're making it seem right now? Do you think that's going to come along? That
Of
the
course.
powers to be, all the countries are going to come together. They're going to, we're going to shut it down. We don't want this.
Of course, only because I think that right now they're trying to figure out how to regulate it, right? They're
Right.
putting bills in place and laws and everything else. It takes time. So now's the time. Like the doors are closing every day. Like the doors are getting closer and closer and closer to regulation, to, they can deem whatever they want as the securities. We never really know. They're trying to get a foothold on crypto as a whole. But here's the thing. Crypto is global. Blockchain is global, right? So they can only close the doors on the US. And I think that now going down the conspiracy road now, I think they're going to use all this technology against us. And I think they're going to issue CBDCs. CBDCs is a central bank digital dollar. And basically, they're going to use that to control us and have programmable money to where they can shut off your money at any time, or you can't spend it at a certain place, so on and so forth. So I do think they're going to weaponize it. But I think that if you're ahead of the game, then there's no way to really stop it, because at the end of the day, it is decentralized. It's global.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the conspiracy theory. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I
I
can
am.
understand. No, it's cool. Man. Listen, I'm open to all conversations, man. But I can get where you're going with that, because to me, government, and of course, this is the champion nation, and we're talking about here empowering financial literacy. Really, that's what it sounds like to me, and that's what we're doing. Is that correct, Maverick?
Oh yeah, of course, 100%.
So I can see how the government, because knowing the government, it's not frilly, frilly nilly or nilly frilly, whatever. They don't want things just being all free. They want to have some
Yeah, of
control over some stuff. So that's why
course.
I'm like, okay, so it's not going to run rampant for too long.
No,
I just can't see that happening. That's all. That's all.
no, it's definitely not. I think that we're seeing this is probably the last bull run where it's going to be completely as free as it is. And then the next, 3 to 4 years, they're really going to start clamping down. And so again, that's why I was saying getting on the ground floor now is probably the single most important thing you can do for your financial future, because they're definitely going to start hammering down on a lot of projects. And I feel like they can only do it here. Of course, they don't have any governance worldwide, but it's definitely coming.
So I don't know when people are going to listen to this show or hear this show. It could be this year, 2024. It can be 2027. I don't know. But the ground level you're talking about is right now. Someone may hear it 6 months from now, a year from now, and the ground floor may not be the same then. But navigating the complexities of both real estate and blockchain, it is a daunting task for newcomers, especially like myself. What advice would you give to individuals across the globe looking to bridge the gap between the two worlds and explore opportunities in both industries?
For one, just do your research. I think again, education is key. Research. Find out what is what, who is who, and why. I think, preparation eliminates fear. So you have to be able to be prepared. You have to be able to really know what's going on first. Weaponize, your knowledge first. And then from there, have some discernment of, you know, what you want to get into. What are your interests? Why are you doing this and how? Get a mentor. You know, I even do mentorships to where, you know, people hire me to guide them through their journey and figure out because everybody's journey is different, right? So they can have some type of financial goal, or they want to be able to, uh, you know, kind of be their own bank or whatever. They just need the knowledge and the guidance. So I think that that's another thing too, to get some type of mentorship or, you know, some type of teacher that can guide you through this. So even like Block Nation,
Absolutely.
we have a whole group that we have on, we do shows on TikTok and we have a group on Telegram, YouTube. So we're like the breakfast club of Web3, right?
I
So
love it.
that's what we do. We educate and we show people have made tons of money just kind of just listening to us. And, you know, we don't give financial advice. We just give the education. That's it. And, you know,
Yeah.
from there, they can make their own, you know, kind of decisions from there. But I think that's the main thing. That's your roadmap.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited, man. I'm really, really excited. I have a crypto account. Yeah, it's crypto.com. Yeah, I think that's why.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. I have them. I've dibbled and dabbled in a couple of tokens. We could talk offline about that.
Okay.
But looking ahead, man, I'm excited for real. Looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of real estate? About movies, about streaming networks, like where you're at now, blockchain, and Web3 technologies. What excites you the most, and are there any emerging trends or developments that you believe would be significantly impacted by these industries in years to come?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited I'm just overexcited about, you know, the whole industry as a whole, how it's going to change all the industries. I think that when it comes down to, you know, doing stuff the old way, it doesn't work anymore. You know, you know, all the old rules, all this stuff that we've been doing, everything moves too slow. I'm excited how it's going to change all the industries, right? So that's my first thing. I think that anything that has to do with any kind of value, that's going to be the biggest game changer with the tokenization of things. So when we tokenize, you can tokenize pretty much anything, right? You can tokenize your labor. You can tokenize your whatever you want, movies, music. There's, you know, even streaming platforms now that's coming out that's decentralized, that, you know, give rewards back to the listeners. You can participate in people's royalties. So people are fractionalizing their royalties. So when you stream something, not only you're listening and supporting, but now you can gain an ROI just by listening to their music.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yep.
Which would then drive the listenership or viewership up, because the more you listen to it, the more you get back in royalties. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Oh
And I
my
think
God.
that it's going to change the music industry. Even with
Hmm.
the whole thing with AI and how, what's the company called? Open AI, that
Mm-hmm.
company, how they have Sora now, where they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be creating movies where you're just by typing something in and AI completely generates your script, right? So that alone, and they have tokens behind that too. They have AI tokens and whatnot, where they're going to be using, you know, cryptocurrency. So it's all going to be crossing over. But the entertainment industry alone is going to be changed like complete 180. You know, the finance sector and everything else. I'm just excited for the change, and I'm excited about the tokenization of things, because that alone is a game changer where you're talking about, you know, real estate, stocks, music, movies, clothing, anything, you name it. I think that is going to be the most exciting part.
My mind is churning over here, my friend. It's
Even your
churning.
podcast, even you could fractionalize or invest in your podcast. Hey, everybody, invest in my podcast. I'm going to be tokenizing my podcast, and that's how you can support. You know, there's different ways to, you know, incentivize your listeners and your supporters. and now they can even make money with you. So it's going to be a
Yeah,
game
we're
changer
gonna talk offline, my friend. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We've been talking for about 30 minutes, man, a little over 30 minutes. Let me ask you a question. This is the Champion Nation. We are talking about financial literacy, but just a different side of the coin. And I want all of our champions that's listening to you, because this is a different conversation than we've ever had on the Champion Nation. We didn't delve into the bad side of you starting a business or how everything we didn't go that route today. It was just more so financial literacy. So what does it mean to you to be a champion?
What does it mean to be a champion? I believe that it doesn't matter how many W's you have. I think that how many L's can you take and then bounce back from them, right? So like, I think that if you're very resilient, if your mindset comes down to I'm going to win no matter what, and doesn't matter how long, you can't worry about anybody else's race. You have to run your race. I think that's a real champion. And also, not only being self-serving, but being selfless. I think that if you're creating something to solve a problem, if you're leading other people to be successful, I think that's the biggest thing you can do, right? Because we have to push humanity forward and not be so, inverted and be like, oh, me, but also give way to future generations. So I think that's a real champion.
I love it. Maverick, where can our viewers and listeners connect with you?
So you can find me on Instagram. That's Maverick Approach on Instagram. My YouTube is Maverick McFly. My X account is Mav Approach, MAVE Approach. And also if you go on my link tree on my IG, I have all my links on there. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Hey, Champion Nation. This was different. This was golden. This was crypto. Blockchain, this was amazing. And to sum it all up, because for many of us that's listening, this is scary. We've never journeyed down this path before. AI, I hear people saying, oh my gosh, I'm scared. It's going to take over the world. I've seen a movie like this before. Crypto, I don't know what to trust it. It's a scam. Hey, here's the deal. I firmly believe with all my heart that all of these assets that we have, they are pushing us forward. They are pushing us forward. And as Maverick said, it's not the W's. It's not the dubs that make you a champion. It's how many L's you can take and keep going. Champion Nation, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And Maverick, thank you so much for joining the Champion Nation.
Man, appreciate it.
Have a champion week, everyone.